Oh, we should mute ourselves when we're not talking.
Okay, so we will get started. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, wherever it is that you are. I assume in the Americas, in Europe, in Asia, maybe Africa. So we appreciate your presence. I am pleased to welcome you to this important IAUP webinar, Spotlighting Leadership Strategies from Female Presidents at IAUP Institutions. This discussion, organized by Dr. Devorah Lieberman, President Emerita of the University of Laverne and member of our executive committee, seeks to showcase the significant contributions and leadership strategies of female presidents within our member institutions. This event is part of the IAUP Women's Leadership Initiative, an effort dedicated to elevating and supporting women in leadership roles across higher education worldwide. Led by remarkable leaders such as Dr. Lieberman and other of our distinguished female members, some from the recent past, some from, they will argue, over 10 years ago. This initiative reflects our unwavering commitment to fostering an inclusive and equitable academic environment. The insights that will be shared here today deeply resonate with the core objectives of our initiative: empowering women leaders, sharing best practices, and creating a supportive network that transcends geographical locations. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to our speakers today, Dr. Stroble, Dr. Lieberman, Dr. Lamagna, Dr. Cunningham, Dr. Mestre, and Dr. Lee, for sharing not only their personal journeys, but for also offering invaluable lessons for all of us dedicated to advancing higher education. Their experiences and insights are a testament to the strength and diversity within our community. A special thank you to our attendees, as your participation and insights will surely result in a truly impactful and inspiring conversation that will benefit our institutions as we continue to champion the cause of women's leadership. I am confident that our collective efforts will lead to more inclusive, innovative, and resilient institutions. Together, we are making strides towards a more equitable future of higher education. Again, welcome, congratulations, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. León-García. Your leadership for IAUP, the International Association of University Presidents, and as president of CETYS University in Mexico, you are an incredible, respected visionary in higher education internationally, and none of this would have happened without your leadership. So on behalf of all of us, thank you, Dr. León-García. Before we jump into the panelists for this webinar, I want to take a minute and welcome all of you to the webinar and to just underscore what Dr. León-García was saying about the importance of supporting all presidents, and in this case, supporting female presidents and those who aspire to be presidents. When I retired, I call it rewired, from the University of Laverne, from the presidency of the University of Laverne last August, Dr. León-García asked if I would help to lead this initiative for IAUP. I jumped at it because I'm so excited about everything that we're doing around leadership, and in this case, female leadership. During the year, this year, we decided to create a publication that focuses on 10 IAUP member female presidents, rectors, or chancellors who would each author a chapter addressing their own presidential trajectory, the challenges and the successes during their presidency, and how gender may have impacted their presidency, and their leadership strategies that they recommend to future and current female presidents. This publication will be available over the summer for free on the IAUP website and can be accessed by anyone. So check the website throughout the summer because the publication, it's significant and it is really, really worth reading. So there were 8 overarching themes that emerged across all of the authors, the 10 authors in this publication. And quickly, I'm going to share those 8 themes with you. But when you read the book, you will see much more in-depth analysis and discussion of each theme with examples from each president. So the 8 themes are: the first overarching theme across all of the presidents was that they were the first female institutional leader. They reflected upon what it was like to be the first president, rector, chancellor, female of their institutions. The second overarching theme was a higher purpose. The authors addressed their dedication to something much larger than themselves: the institution, the students, the future of higher education, and their country. It wasn't egotistical or egocentric, it was purpose-driven. The third theme was about mentoring and coaching. The authors addressed the importance of having a mentor or coach that would be a sounding board, a support, or a confidential guide for them. The fourth theme was about always listening carefully. The authors highlighted the importance of listening to their cabinet members and their constituents and not believing that they were the smartest person in the room and that they should always listen and learn from others. The fifth theme was proving oneself. Most of the authors asserted that gender had a role in their leadership position. They felt that as women, they had to consistently prove themselves in this leadership position so that those who did not think women should lead would not also influence others to think similarly. The sixth theme was external perceptions. The authors raised the concept that gender is just one of the factors that impacted how they were perceived by others. Other demographics were also impacted how they were perceived. For example, they talked about their country of origin, their religion, and their age. The seventh theme was essential attributes. Every author mentioned the importance of consistently exhibiting the following attributes: authenticity, humility, being laser focused on institutional mission, resilience, constant communication, and empathy. And finally, the eighth theme was, am I good enough? I'll repeat that. The eighth theme was, am I good enough? Several authors referred to the imposter syndrome and how easy it is to feel that they did not deserve to be the leader or the CEO. These presidents stated how important it is not to listen to that inner voice that asks, am I good enough? But to know that they are good enough, and that is why, exactly why, they had been selected for this leadership position. So today, we are fortunate that 5 of the authors of this upcoming publication are part of this webinar, and we will share with you, or they will share with you, their experiences, their strategies, and their wisdom as female CEOs of their institutions. So let me introduce to you the people that you're looking at, that you're going to be listening to you. We have Dr. Beth Stroble, the Chancellor of Webster University in the USA. We have Dr. Carmen Lamagna, the President of the American International University of Bangladesh. We have Dr. Sue Cunningham, the President of the Council for the Advancement and Support of Education from the US. And we have Dr. Eun-jo Lee, the President of Seoul Cyber University from Korea. She could not be with us today, so she will be joining by recorded video. And Dr. María Mestre, the president of the Universidad de Valencia, Spain, who is also pre-recorded on video. So welcome to all the participants, welcome to the panelists, and let's jump in. For those who are watching us online and you have questions, feel free to put them into the chat so that after we'll finish hopefully early, before 9 o'clock. And in the last few minutes, we can answer all of your chat questions as much as possible. So the first topic is very simple, and we're going to be brief. And I will start with, the first topic is, can you briefly tell us a quick overview of your institution? And we'll start with Dr. Stroble. Thank you.
Well, good day, everyone. Thank you, Fernando. Thank you, Devorah, for organizing us today. It's a pleasure to be here. So Webster University, our home and our main campus, the place where we were founded, is St. Louis, Missouri, in the heart of the United States. But many people would know Webster as a global university. So certainly several thousands of students take courses and complete degrees in St. Louis, but also through online programs and in dedicated international campuses. The first founded in Geneva, Switzerland in 1978, and the most recent founded in Tashkent, Uzbekistan in 2019, right before the pandemic. So, you know, over 14,000 students all over the world getting a Webster and a US accredited degree, but also recognized in the country where that campus is located. So it's a dynamic institution that started as a women's college and is now co-ed nonprofit.
Beautiful. Thank you. Wow. You probably have many people just listening to that who are Googling you right now and wanting some of their students to participate with Webster.
Yeah, absolutely. Each of our institutions serves an important mission.
Exactly. Thank you, Beth. Dr. Cunningham. Oh, no, excuse me. Dr. Lamagna, you're next. You're on mute, Carmen.
Okay. Hello. Good evening. Thank you, Fernando. Thank you, Deborah. Thank you, Beth and Dr. Sue. First of all, I'm now a retired vice chancellor, but I'm still with the university. I told Fernando I'm a shadow. I'm a shadow. So I'm still with the academics. I'm now the advisor for the academic affairs. But anyway, I'm here to talk about American International University, Bangladesh. Way back in 1990, private universities in Bangladesh is still a thing. The Private University Act was only enacted in 1992, and IAUP was approved in 1994. We started with only 70 students. We now have something like 12,000 students. We had a significant achievement, and this last year, the institution received the Certificate of Permanent Establishment and Operation from the Ministry of Education. This is a distinction for sustainable academic operation and achieved only by a very few private universities in the country. There are almost like 104 universities in Bangladesh, but I think it's only 5 of us who has got the permanent certificate. We have 4 faculty. We have the Faculty of Engineering, Faculty of Science and Technology, Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences, and the Faculty of Business Administration. We have more than 36,000 graduates now. And of course, IAUP has made its mark in the higher education of the country, and being the first university to have internationally accredited business administration program. We are also the first in the country who has achieved the QS 4 stars just recently. So, and I'm also the first lady vice chancellor of the country. So, as a first female president of the country, I think I have broken the glass ceiling here, but there's still a long way to go. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Carmen. Thank you. Beautiful, and congratulations on all those firsts. Dr. Cunningham.
Thank you very much. Well, it's a pleasure to be here, and good to see you, Devorah and Fernando, and really lovely to meet you, Carmen and Beth, and very keen to meet you in 3 dimensions. So I'm President and CEO of CASE, the Council for Advancement and Support of Education. We are the global professional association for people who work in external engagement for schools, colleges, and universities. So we have 3,000 member institutions in 80 countries around the world, with about 97,000 people within them who engage with CASE's educational programs, with our global standards, and with our data and benchmarking work and our advocacy work. And really what we do is we're here to support the professionalization of alumni engagement, of marketing, of communications, and fundraising, which of course has very different priorities and contexts in different parts of the world. And in my role, one of my joys, not quite as much as Fernando, but is traveling around the world and meeting with institutional leaders and advancement practitioners to really support the success of those institutions through effective external engagement. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much, Sue. And Raul, can you cue up Dr. Lee's description of her institution? Korea, South Korea.
Hello, everyone. I'd like to express my gratitude to the President Fernando León-García and Dr. Lieberman for inviting me this female leadership webinar, as well as to the senior and fellow female leaders. Seoul Cyber University has been a pioneering institution in the realm of online education since its founding in 2000. It's actually Korea's first online university, which is quite an achievement. From the very beginning, SCU has been dedicated to providing quality education, which is evidenced by our consistent accreditation from the Ministry of Education. This commitment to the excellence has been recognized in the Ministry of Evaluations, where we've achieved the highest grade for 3 consecutive years. Our university currently serves a diverse student body of approximately 17,000 students. These students are spread across 11 schools and 43 departments and majors, which also include various graduation programs. This broad range of programs highlights our commitment to the accessibility and diversity in education. Many of our students are other learners who manage to balance their professional and personal responsibilities while pursuing their studies, thanks to the flexibility online education offers. Seoul Cyber University has some of the best programs around in social welfare, psychology and counseling, and engineering. We are also making a big splash in arts. Our music school, for instance, offers classical vocal and piano programs that mix online and offline learning. For our remote piano lessons, we use Yamaha Disclavia system, which is pretty cool. It connects the 2 pianos so that when they play one, the other one plays automatically. This system let professors from the Liszt Academy in Hungary and other countries give our students regular lessons and master classes. We are also big on using cutting-edge digital technology to make education more efficient. We are experimenting with things like AI professors, AI chatbots, and mobile system, exam system to provide top-notch education.
Perfect, thank you. And Raul, can you cue Dr. Mestre's description? Stay tuned. Here it is.
The University of Valencia was founded in 1499 by the City Council. So, in 2024, we are celebrating our 525th anniversary. With 18 faculties and a doctoral school, 84 departments, and 24 research institutes, the University of Valencia offers one of the widest ranges of undergraduate, master's, and doctoral degree courses in Spain in all areas of knowledge. Our university is currently made up of more than 55,000 students, almost 6,000 university teachers and researchers, and more than 2,000 staff. We are a university that promotes the values of equality, diversity, inclusion, and sustainability. And we can proudly say that we are the leading university in Europe in terms of receiving Erasmus students, the leading university in Spain for disabled students, the leading university in Spain for sports, and the third university in Spain in the main international rankings, coming first in areas such as law, business, and tourism.
Beautiful. I hope all of those who are watching online are so impressed with the institutions and the presidents that we have right here in this webinar. So moving to our second question, and again, we'll start with Dr. Stroble, and then we'll move through. As a female leader of your institution, what have been your greatest challenges and greatest successes? So in your few minutes, highlight those challenges and those successes as a female leader.
I think, as each of us have already identified, it's the unique mission and the calling of leading our particular institution that provides the greatest challenge and opportunity both. So Webster, founded as a women's college, but for the first 50 years was a women's college, but now it's this nonprofit global co-ed institution that is constantly evolving to advance a mission. And what we say at Webster is we're evolving to meet an unmet need. So the real opportunity was to say, all right, how can I, as the first female in 40 years, the last female had led when it was still a women's college and a Catholic college, how can I take this evolving institution and advance the mission in ways that are true to who Webster is and to who the world needs? So we've certainly added institutional programs, academic programs. We've added global locations. We've provided more support for students, increased the diversity of our student body. So those are all the kinds of things that we've lived to express our mission and have been hugely rewarding. By far, the biggest challenge has been the pandemic. And so certainly Webster was in a growth mode and an expansion mode. The pandemic interrupted that in a severe way. And Webster now is recovering from that and back to the pre-pandemic numbers enrollment-wise, but it's a different enrollment base than we had before the pandemic. So the next leader, and I retire at the end of this month, the next leader for this wonderful university will inherit a situation that will call them to figure out what does Webster's mission need to evolve to and what realities to meet the unmet needs post-pandemic.
Thank you, Beth. Well said, and congratulations on being rewired after the end of this month.
Yeah, there's plenty of good work still to do.
Yes. Yeah, like the work we're doing right here at IAUP. Thank you, Beth. Carmen, your greatest successes and your greatest challenges.
Despite the positive trends of economic development involving the female workforce here in the country, and when I say that I have broken the glass ceiling still persists, limiting women's upward mobility in the workplace This barrier has prevents women in Bangladesh from advancing to higher levels in their careers due to the deeply ingrained gender stereotypes. And Bangladesh is a male-dominated country, so it's really very difficult for women to go up the ladder. There is a term, Cinderella complex, commonly used by the author. This was described by the author Colette and discussed that a woman's sole identity lies in her beauty and vulnerability. Like Cinderella, women think their diligence and intelligence are not enough, and outside forces are supposed to arrive to save them. But women in leadership positions like me, I often face more scrutiny and many encounter biases than the male counterparts. This is the primary challenge, overcoming existing gender biases and stereotypes in the leadership roles. But despite the challenges, I find my role very rewarding and impactful. I think I have proven that a woman vice chancellor thinks differently than the male counterpart. And serving as a female university leader can inspire women within the academia and beyond to pursue leadership roles and challenge the gender norms. We often bring a unique perspective in diversity and inclusion efforts. Thank you, Deborah.
Oh, Carmen, that was beautiful. Thank you for your honesty and what you brought to your institution and the leadership internationally. Thank you. Dr. Cunningham.
Well, thank you. And it's lovely I could listen to Beth and Carmen all day, actually, very happily. So just a couple of reflections from me, I think, and certainly thinking about, I remember when writing the article you kindly invited, Devorah, the whole area of imposter syndrome. And I think this is true of all genders probably, but I'm certainly mindful at different times in my career, and having an executive coach has been incredibly helpful. In fact, I had my final meeting with her after 10 years last week, which was a pretty moving occasion, but really recognizing that it's something I do to myself and looking at all the evidence that suggests that the voice of my imposter syndrome is going to come out every now and then, but I should look at evidence to persuade myself that it's not always entirely accurate. In fact, far from it much of the time. Although the other extreme from imposter syndrome is arrogance, and I'd far prefer to be the very opposite extreme of that. I think for me, I'd say two things in terms of challenges and opportunities. One, I'm leading the organization that was my go-to and my sort of North Star when I was working in advancement at St. Andrews at Oxford at the University of Melbourne. So to lead the organization that you cared deeply about and that you had really spent 18 years getting to know and being a volunteer with, it doesn't get better than that. And I'm now starting my 10th year. I can't believe that's true. So that as an opportunity is incredibly exciting. And there's just this huge global community who is very mutually supportive and connected and engaged, which is wonderful. I think the challenge is around pace of change. And I tend to be excited and driven by opportunities and innovation. And one needs to temper that with recognizing that one has colleagues who are at the opposite end of the spectrum, which I think is very healthy to have different perspectives and views, but knowing when it's appropriate to press hard on the accelerator and knowing when actually, no, you need to ease off because the voices at the table are saying, if we do one more thing, we'll collapse. And it's getting that balance right. It's getting that balance right. And I think throughout my career, that's been a constant, actually. I remember when I was hired at the University of Melbourne and was having a 360 review and sat down with the Vice Chancellor, wonderful man, Glyn Davis. And my review basically said that you're sort of driving ahead, and if you look over your shoulder, you can see some of your team, but they're like little dots on the horizon, far, far away. And I sat down with Glyn and I was waiting for him to say, Sue, you need to really reflect on this. And he said, but why do you think I brought you here? So it's getting the balance right.
Oh, Sue, the wisdom from the three of you, very, very important. Thank you. And those of you who are listening, make sure to put questions and comments in the chat so we can come back to them at the end. So Raul, can you cue up Dr. Lee and her challenges and successes from South Korea?
As a female leader, one of my most significant challenges has been navigating to the unique dynamics and demands of managing an online university. Unlike traditional universities, SCU required us to innovate continuously and create new educational models and methods from the scratch. The existing principle and regulation for traditional universities didn't fit well with our online format, which meant we had to think creatively and collaboratively. This process involved countless hours of meetings and debates to experiment, identify the best educational models. Another considerable challenge has been leading to the university through various crises. Effective crisis management requires not only clear and transparent communication, but also quick decision-making and adaptability. Through these challenges, maintaining the trust and unity of our community has been crucial. Transparent communication about the crisis resolution process has helped strengthen our institutional bonds and empower our members. On the success front, I'm immensely proud of how much SCU has grown and innovated under my leadership. The university has expanded from around 9,000 students at its inception of my term to the 17,000 today. This growth is a testament to our commitment to continuous innovation and adaptation to the society needs and technological advancement. We've established expanded new colleges and majors, breaking down academic silos and introducing interdisciplinary programs. These initiatives have significantly enhanced our education offerings and demonstrated the unique strengths that women bring to leadership, such as embracing diverse opinions and fostering consensus. Additionally, our university's consistent top performance in ministry evaluation and the trust we've earned from our institutional members reflects the success of our collective efforts. Effective crisis management, innovative approaches, and transparent communication have been key to this achievement. These successes highlight the positive impact of inclusive and forward-thinking leadership.
Great, thank you. And finally, from Dr. Mestre from Spain.
On a personal level, I have become the first woman dean of the Faculty of Psychology and the first woman rector in the 518 years that make up the history of our university, being re-elected in 2022. As an academic, I have been lead researcher in national and international research projects. And as rector, my challenges have been two: improve internationalization, promote policies for equality and diversity, inclusion and sustainability. All this within inaugural project for the modernization of the university. And doing so while practicing a participatory governance style of management with a university focused on people and shared management.
Wonderful. And our last question to our panelists and this is, I think, one of the reasons that all of our participants came on to hear what you have to say. What advice would you offer to other female presidents, chancellors, or rectors, or mid-level female administrators who aspire to be presidents and to be in the C-suite? So what advice would you offer current presidents and those who are aspiring to be in the C-suite? Dr. Stroble?
So I'll follow Carmen's example, and I have a quote, not quite as eloquent perhaps, but noteworthy. So Woody Allen said this. He said, if 90% of success in life is showing up, the other 10% is what you're showing up for. So my advice to any of us in these roles is think carefully and think well about how you show up and what you show up for, because those are reflections and indicators of your values and your particular style of leadership. And certainly it's always a pleasure to show up for IAUP. And you can hear from the wisdom of the women that has been shared today, what an amazingly diverse and supportive and distinguished group of women are members of IAUP. And so I think professionally, as well as on your own campus and in your community, be thoughtful about what you show up for, because that reflects where your time is spent, but more about what your values and you want to accomplish in your leadership.
Beautiful, Beth. Thank you. And Carmen, what advice would you offer current presidents
Well,
and those who aspire to be presidents?
in addition to what Beth has said, I would say we should be more dedicated, resilient, and we should have a very good strategic planning skills. Foremost is, of course, to focus on your academic qualifications. Men would normally ask, especially here in Bangladesh, what have you finished? So if you have an impressive academic qualifications, it will be more helpful for you to rise up. And of course, to invest in your personal and professional development. We have to build experience through various roles within the academia or related fields, cultivate relationships with mentors, colleagues, and professionals. Now, should not depend solely on external forces to carry the sense of self-worth. By doing so, we can find happiness and fulfillment within ourselves and can create healthier relationships with others. However, creating inclusive work environments where diverse voices are heard and valued organization can foster a culture that embraces diversity, promote open communication, and challenge unconscious biases in providing opportunities for expertise. Society should distinguish the value of women's contribution and work from individuals and organizations. Against this backdrop, challenging stereotypical attitudes, promoting an environment of diversity, working together, mutual respect and tolerance, and implementing gender equality policy in the organizations should be this should be my advice to the aspiring presidents of universities. Breaking barriers and achieving leadership roles as female is in a traditionally male-dominated fields requires also courage, perseverance, and commitment.
Beautiful. Thank you, Carmen. You are a trailblazer. And you're proud of that, and we're proud of you.
I'm very proud of what I have achieved.
You should be.
The next vice chancellor after me will have a big shoes to fill in. I would say good luck.
Thank you. Dr. Cunningham.
So when I was moving from a role where I had responsibility for 5 staff to 150 from an Oxford College to Oxford University, I remember asking my campaign board chair, Sir David Scoley, for what advice he would give me as I was moving into a much more senior leadership role. And he said, only do what only you can do. And I think as one steps into more and more senior positions or CEO or president positions, the temptation is to leap into the things one feels most confident about and most comfortable doing. But there may well be people around you who are really good at it and who are there to do it or have the potential to grow into it. and therefore really reflecting on what are the things that really only I can do for the organization, and giving other people their path and supporting them in their path for them to grow, and don't leap in just because you know how to do it. That's the nurturing others to grow, I think, and to be effective is really important. I think there's a question in the chat from Thomas Morales about advice in seeking presidential opportunities, and a thought I'd reflect on, and again, this came through discussions in my executive coaching many moons ago, was really about, the process of exploring new opportunities is as much about ourselves as it is for the roles that we're going for, and really seeing those processes of applying for presidential positions as being as much about you measuring up the culture and the context. These are really, in the current climate, these are incredibly challenging roles, and one's going to be working at them 24/7 or more. So being absolutely sure as you can be, that the place that you're going to is consistent with your values, is somewhere where you can grow and flourish and make a difference, and is a mission that you're passionate about and believe in. I think those things are really critical in assessing whether it's the right opportunity for you, in addition to whether you're the right fit for the organization.
Oh, that's very well said, Sue. The average presidency has gone from 15 years to 10 years, and I think now in the US, it's about 5 years or 5.5 years. And to be a successful president, and to only have 3 to 5 years, very difficult to make your accomplishments, to achieve the vision that you have. So that fit that you're talking about runs a two-way street, the fit for you and you for the institution, because the goal is success, and success is very hard to achieve in a 3-year stint. So going in with your eyes wide open, as you've all said, is very important. So thank you. And now we have, for that last question, we have Dr. Lee from South Korea.
Congratulations on reaching the position of a female leader. I can only imagine the constant effort, passionate work it must have taken to get here. You are already remarkable individuals, so there is little I can add, but I would like to share a few thoughts. First, keeping an open mind. Universities are incredibly diverse place, filled with people from various backgrounds and different perspectives. It's crucial to foster inclusive environment where everyone feels valued, has the opportunity to contribute. This means actively working to understand, appreciate the different viewpoints within your institution. Prejudice and stereotypes can sometimes narrow your perspective, so it's important to challenge these biases and create a culture of inclusivity. By embracing diversity, you can unlock the full potential of your team and drive innovation. Second, being innovative. The landscape of higher education is always evolving with the diminishing resources and shifting societal perceptions. To navigate these changes, it's essential to adopt a forward-thinking approach, embrace new technology and educational trends such as online education and AI-enhanced learning system. Being proactive about implementing innovations can provide your institution with a competitive edge. It's important to be bold, proactive in embracing these innovations to stay ahead of the curve. Third, engaging globally is important, I think. Get involved in the global academic community. These not only help you grow personally, but also enhance your institution's reputation and connections. Building a strong international network facilitates the exchange of ideas and best practices, allowing you to apply these insights within your university. Participating in global academic activities can broaden your horizon and provide a valuable perspective that can be implemented locally. Encouraging a globally open culture benefits both students and faculty by expanding their opportunities and fostering broad understanding of a global trend.
And that was an unpaid advertisement why every president should join IAUP. I'm helping you there, Fernando. And the last recording is from Dr. Mestre from Spain.
There is no magic formula, and we need to keep in mind that we live in a complex world. So, my main piece of advice is that we need to analyze the reality of the environment. The second is to surround yourself with good teams, and above all, to put into practice our skills in empathy and active listening, reaching agreements and working to make participatory governance a reality.
Wonderful. So those are our three main questions. We have some questions in the chat. We have about 10 minutes left. And one of the things I wanted to underscore, not just the themes that came up in the written chapters and across the presenters today, and it is that what I heard from each of these presidents is that as they entered their positions, and some have been in their positions for many, many years, they grew, they evolved, they learned, they listened. And many years ago, one of our daughters said to me, "Mom, growth begins when comfort ends." And I said, "What? Wait a second, I'm supposed to be teaching you. You're teaching me?" And she said, "Growth begins when comfort ends." And throughout our presidencies, we're uncomfortable. We have these moments of saying, how do I handle this? And Sue Cunningham talked about having a coach that helped her through it. And all the presidents talked about surrounding themselves with individuals who may know more about one area than they know, so that they don't have to do it all. And everybody talked about the imposter syndrome and am I good enough? Once we realize that growth begins when comfort ends, and it's okay to be uncomfortable, it's okay to seek advice from others, it's okay to say, how do I solve this problem? Let's all solve this together. Those presidents, especially those female presidents who embrace the growth, the journey, and the process, those are the presidents that you're looking at today on the screen who are so very successful. So I'm inspired by each one of you. Let's turn to the chat questions. We have a few here, and I'm just going to say them out loud. The first one comes from Kim Lee, who works at the American Council on Education. And she says, "Welcome, Kim. Share your perspective on the importance of allyship and sponsorship." By allyship, I'm referring to securing support from individuals outside of marginalized groups by gender, race, or ethnicity. By sponsorship, I'm referring to individuals in positions of power, provide space at the table for voice from individuals in marginalized communities. So what is your perspective on allyship and sponsorship? I'll turn that to anybody who wants to answer that. Don't make me call. Oh, good. Thank you, Beth.
I'll start. I think the kinds of relationships described by allyship and sponsorship are certainly subtly different than mentorship. And I think that having a network of individuals who function in all those ways certainly help to lift up more women and give them more experiences bring them to the table for important conversations, and put more women in charge of these kinds of complex projects that prepare you for the presidency. But in turn, it's important for those of us in these leadership roles to function in all those ways. So there certainly are individuals that I have had formal mentoring relationships with. But it's interesting to say that it's important to also think about how can I be an ally for individuals that I don't necessarily interact with in that formal mentoring way. And how can I be a sponsor, someone who raises someone's name when they're not in the room, but says, I think this is the right opportunity for this person. And how do I make sure I'm calling out a diverse group of individuals for those opportunities, and not only the natural successors? So that's my reflection on this. It's sort of a call to action that Kim's giving all of us.
And
Beautiful.
I think I'd reflect, Devorah, and I completely concur with everything that Beth has said. I think also, I think we're all working towards creating working environments where we're achieving greater equity. And I mean, particularly listening to the environment in which Carmen's operated and been successful in, different cultures and different contexts are very different from one another. I think the one thing I'd reflect on, and if I think about when I first arrived at my organization, where there had only been one woman on the executive leadership team for many moons, and now the vast majority of people at the executive leadership team are women, is about seeking balance and equity and diversity with everybody. We have a graduate trainee program, and one of the graduate trainees asked me when I met them in Europe last year. He was a young man sitting with 5 women who were all graduate trainees, and said, is this the gender balance in the advancement profession? And I said, that's a really interesting question. And largely, yes, it is. There are many more women than men. To which I went back and talked to one of my colleagues who is instrumental in our diversity, equity, and inclusion work, and said, what are we doing about bringing more men into the profession? So I think one needs to continuously be scanning the horizon and not focus on specific groups only, but think about what diversity really means, which is inclusive of everybody, and how we make that possible.
Beautiful. Okay. We're
Can I add?
Okay, quickly. Go ahead.
Okay,
Yes.
I'll just add one line. In addition to this opinion of this very knowledgeable panelist, I would say I work as a team leader. When I have to implement some policies, I have to call my group of men and would ask them, will this work? Because I am coming from a different culture, a different country, different religion. So I have to know their opinion. So I call on the team and ask them, will it be the best policy or should we change? That's it.
Thank you. Excellent. We only have 4 minutes left, and I'm going to do a quick lightning round. Dr. Morales, the president of Cal State University San Bernardino, asks, if you're a dean or a provost and you want to be a president, what advice would you give? And you already addressed that in your answers, but if you could give one piece of advice to deans and provosts or vice presidents of advancement who want to be a president, what's one piece of advice you would give them? Beth?
I think you need to find a way to be responsible and accountable for high impact work that's cross-functional.
Perfect. Thank you. Sue, one piece of advice.
Well, in addition to what I said earlier, I think I would seek out a mentor or mentors who can help you think about how to shape and frame and what the right opportunity might be.
Excellent. And Carmen, one piece of advice.
Be resilient, bounce back from adversity, and persevere in achieving your goals.
Beautiful.
Bounce back.
And the last question is, what is from Yvette Bracone-Walker, who's a Southern California radio personality and on NPR as well. So you can feature us, Yvette. You can pitch your IAUP on, I'm working for you, Fernando, on your program. So she says, what's a realistic time frame for, and I'm not sure of the answer because I think it's different for all of us, but what is a
different.
realistic time frame for someone to say, I want to be a president? It's a hard question. Carmen?
Yeah,
Me,
that,
I
Go ahead.
started as a teacher. Yeah, I started as a teacher and then I was moving up and up, up. And it took me 15 years.
Yeah, it's
There
good.
is no realistic time, but then you have to start from below.
Right.
Yeah.
And Sue, what would you say?
I'd say how long is a piece of string? I mean, I was working for 30 years, theatre, to television, to museums, galleries, then advancement, before I stepped into this role, or maybe 29 or something. So I think you meet some people who started being university presidents. I'm thinking of Jim Harris at the University of San Diego, for example, who started his first presidency when he was 34. So I just, it's how long is a piece of
Yeah.
string?
Yeah, exactly.
And
Mhm.
Beth, what would you say?
I'd say the gift of the presidential role or chancellorship role is that it allows you to pull from every single lived experience in your life. Nothing that I've not done in my life doesn't wind up getting touched or pulled from. So
Right.
Exactly.
it's a lifelong venture, if you want to put it that way.
Right.
Exactly. Exactly.
The last thing about that was common across all the chapters from all the female presidents was opportunity. There was no particular path or ladder.
Mhm.
Opportunities came to each one,
yeah.
and each one said, grab
Yes,
that opportunity. So that's
exactly.
a lesson learned, because I'm not sure it's true for men as much as women to grab the opportunity. So it's 8:59. And I want to say thank you to our fearless leader, Dr. León-García, to Carmen Lamagna, to Sue Cunningham, to Beth Stroble, to Dr. Lee and Dr. Mestre. And thank you to the participants for being part of this group. Stay tuned because the book is coming out this summer. Go to the IAUP website. It's free. Click on it and you'll hear what you heard. You'll read what you heard today and so much more. We'll see you soon. And it's 9 o'clock. Have a great weekend. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Thank you. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you. Good
Bye.
night. Good night from my side.
In London.
Thank you.
Thank
you
you.
to all.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.